and welcome to International Women's Day with the Teaching Kitchen. We are so excited to be here with you in partnering with the Center for Women and Gender Equity. My name is Paige Wagner, and I'm the registered dietitian for BGSU Dining. And with me,
I am Chef Marissa Riffle. I'm the senior executive chef for the campus of Bowling Green State University.
Yes, and we wanted to focus today on a German chocolate mug cake that you can easily make in your dorm. International Women's Day actually started in Germany in 1914, and it was on March 8th. They chose a Sunday because it was a weekend, but then they stuck with that day ever since. So that is why we are doing a German chocolate cake today.
All right, sounds good, Paige. So the first thing we're going to do is everybody should have received a box. So let's go over the ingredients that you're going to need. You're going to need your flour, sugar, baking powder, cocoa powder, canola oil, salt, and milk. Now with the milk, it could be regular milk, which I have here today, but if you would like to use a nut milk, almond milk.
Ooh, oat milk is my personal favorite.
Any of those, they will work great too. And then for the topping, we have sweetened condensed milk. We have pecans and coconut. So really, really simple, but really, really delicious.
Yes.
Great dorm room item, great selection.
German chocolate cake is one of my personal favorites.
Mine too. I will tell you, mine too. So I got to tell you something. I read this meme the other day about sugar and salt.
Oh,
and they're like, always make sure you know the difference between sugar and salt. And that's referring to people who are like sugar and salt too. Because look how much they look alike. So make sure you know what you're dealing with.
That is so good. Yes, people can be very deceiving, and it's important to have good people in your life. And I'm glad I have people like you.
I'm glad I have people like you too. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take our flour, and it's a 1/4 cup of flour. Everything was pre-measured for you, but you'll get the recipe in there too, because I'm pretty sure you're going to want to do this more than one time. This is 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar. It's 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder.
Ooh, is that regular or dark?
This is regular cocoa powder.
Could you do dark?
Sure.
Chocolate? Ooh, I might have to do that one at home.
So then a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And with the salt, you're just going to do a little pinch. No measurement needed there. And then all we are going to do is add the canola oil, which is a tablespoon.
So one of the things that I never realized was that how big of a difference using olive oil in baked goods and using canola oil was. And it really does completely change the flavor.
It does.
Because as a dietitian, I was always like, use olive oil, it's so much healthier, which it is healthy, but it will completely change the taste of your baked goods. So when you're baking, I always recommend using canola, even though it might not have all the same benefits. It'll taste a lot better.
All right. So then all I did was add 1/3 cup of milk. And remember, like I said, if you want to keep it vegan or you have a preference, you could use an almond milk or an oat milk. Paige is going to spray the mug.
And you all have your own personal mugs in there with the Center for Women and Gender Equity logo. This is my personal mug from home that we are using. But they are microwave safe. So if you go to use a different mug sometime, just make sure that they're microwave safe. Because otherwise, as you may know, if you've ever done it like I have, it gets way too hot and then you just practically burn yourself and the food's not cooked.
All right.
It smells so good.
Chocolate always smells good.
Can't go wrong with that.
So that's it. We just dumped it in there. It probably fills if you have a mug about the size, the mug is it's about 1/4 of the way full. We're going to take this, and I'm only going to put it in the microwave for 1 minute because depending on the power of your microwave will depend on how fast it's going to get done. So while I'm doing that, Paige is going to mix together your topping.
Yes, so we just have sweetened condensed milk, some coconut, and some pecans. So if you ever eat German chocolate cake at home, this is like the classic topping, right? Is there anything else that normally goes in the one that you make on a big
nope,
cake?
That's usually what I do.
This is one of my all-time favorites. Sometimes I like to toast my coconut a little bit before I do it, give it a little bit of different flavor, and then just mix it all together. All right, Chef, I have a question for you while we're waiting on our mug.
All right, Paige.
So as a woman in culinary, who is one of, who do you look up to? Like, what woman do you look up to in your career field?
So if we're going to say what woman do I look up to in my career field, There have been a few throughout the years. Or there's always the famous ones. Julia Childs, I think, will always be, for almost a lot of people, will be one of the one of my favorites.
Maybe just
All right,
a
we're going
little
to take a
over.
second. See how it's still a little wet? Hopefully you can see that. We're going to do it for another minute. It's not
And
quite
it's
done.
definitely risen, so you probably couldn't see it as well, but it's almost doubled in height. So make sure you have a big enough mug when you go to do it. But anywho, Julia Childs.
Oh, she'll always be one. Edna Lewis, I lived in the South for a very long time, and she brought Southern food to the forefront of the culinary world. And I have a story that is one of those where I almost got to meet her, but I used to work for.
That'd be so cool.
I used to work for a chef, and this is actually how I knew a lot about her too. I used to work for a chef that worked with Scott Peacock, and Edna Lewis wrote a cookbook together. So
That's so cool. Do you
close. Well, still far away, but so close.
Do you know the name of the cookbook?
You know what? I don't know the name. I just know it says Edna Lewis and Scott Peacock on it. I'm not sure
I'm
what
gonna
the
have to
title
look
of
for
it.
that.
Yeah, I'm not sure the title of it. She has several cookbooks out. That's the only one that she wrote with him, and that was my brush with greatness because I knew somebody that knew.
That is so cool.
But I would say this is probably going to sound, well, it's not. You always have to look for people in your industry too, like in your immediate, what you're doing now in your career. And I'm going to tell you, my my chef right now, Allison Trinkle, has taught me so much and is what every one of us as women should aspire to be when we become in leadership roles.
Yes.
She encourages you. She is a cheerleader.
She's amazing.
She is I mean, I don't know if the woman sleeps. I'm not sure about that. But it is just, it's great. And I think that's the thing that we have to remember as females too. Sometimes it's really easy to, when somebody's getting success or being successful and you're not quite there yet, it's very easy to dismiss them or go, oh,
Right.
As women, we have so many people dismissing us when we're reaching that level that we shouldn't be doing that to ourselves. We should always be each other's cheerleaders. You always want to aspire for the person next to you to do well and do good and reach their goals.
Yes. Oh, that was so good. Almost brought me to tears. Oh,
Well, let's finish this up.
Yeah.
So here you go. If you can see, hopefully you can see that it has gotten, it doesn't have that liquidy shiny look anymore. There's the little holes in it, and if I just quickly touch it, it'll spring back, so that way you know your cake is done. And do you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to bring forks for us. So we're not going to be able to try this, but actually I'm going to run and get a fork while Paige answers the same question she asked me.
Okay.
Who inspires you?
That is very difficult. Like you said, very difficult question. If I'm looking at dietitians, there are a couple. There's one named Sharon Palmer, and she's a dietitian out in California, but she's vegan, but she focuses so much on local farmers and local produce and just supporting those around you. And she's just this amazing person. And I have all of her cookbooks, and I love everything about her. And then Elise Reich and Evelyn Tribbley, they're the founders of Intuitive Eating. So they really brought dietetics back to a format where it's very accepting of weight and diversity and all kinds of, they celebrate everything that makes us different instead of kind of viewing it as a reason that people experience different health problems. They celebrate it and help find ways to help you be healthier. So those are probably my dietitian ones. But I feel like everything you just said was so perfect. I just want to steal what you said and say the same thing. And then chef-wise, I don't know. I mean, I've always looked up to Chef Marissa. She's been a huge inspiration to me since I've started here, and also the corporate chefs, Allison Trinkle and Sarah Bodner.
Yes.
Sarah Bodner
Yes.
is a rock star, and when we got to work with her in the teaching kitchen, just everything about her, I aspire to be her someday. So, yeah. I think that's it.
I think that's it too. I think, like I said, just remember, celebrate each other, celebrate your
Yes.
successes, be there for each other when maybe you don't have the greatest successes, and encourage yourselves to get better at what you need to. But So now, Paige and I are going to take a look and see.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That looks
Oh,
so good.
look at that. I think that looks perfect. And so we are going to celebrate each
Yeah.
other. We're going to celebrate you ladies out there, you women out there. Be strong, be fierce, be who you want to be a leader.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy.